What's your worst story from the throw him in the pool, he'll learn how to swim parenting style? 2 days after I graduated high school, I came home to an empty house, all my stuff in a U-Haul because my mom and stepdad moved without me. I have been financially independent ever since, but a heads up would have been nice. Edit, I woke up so grateful for all the love this post is getting. To make some clarifications. My real dad was not involved in this situation, he was on the other side of the country. I am still close with him, but he is very low income, so he could not help me in this. I went no contact with my mom for about a year, but she weaseled her was back in. I think I see her in person once every 2 years, and I do not acknowledge my stepfather exists. I have been considering going no contact with my mom again recently. My stepdad would get hammered and make me drive him home. I was 14 and couldn't drive stick, and he was like, "You'll figure it out." This happened maybe 3 times. #X200B, edit, since everyone keeps asking, yes, I got home safe every time. Yes, I drive stick like a champ now. Everything from 3 on a tree to an unsprung 3-puck, I'll get you home smile. My dad wasn't drunk, but his idea of teaching me how to drive the manual car at 16 was to say just drive. An explanation of what the clutch was for or how shifting was mean to work would have been helpful. Another 16-year-old at school taught me instead. My uncle's method was that I'd drive stick while he hunts for grouse along the road. It was an hour of him saying break or go mixed in with no, you need to clutch now. He did not get any grouse. I did not learn how to drive stick. This actual thing. I was a lifeguard as high schooler. Some parent did this to their 5-year-old. Parent thought the kid was fine, because he wasn't splashing around, he was bobbing up and down with his arms going straight up and straight out. That actually means they're drowning. Had to jump in and grab the kid, who had swallowed significant amounts of water, and call an ambulance to check the kid out. Parent didn't want us to call the ambulance, but we told him it was the ambulance, or the police, because what he did could be considered child endangerment. Dad was losing his shit, screaming at me, a 17-year-old girl. Owner of the pool saw this, and he, former Navy dude, got up in the guy's face. Parent was banned from the pool for life. To this day, I'm convinced the guy was completely hammered. It's amazing how stupid people are. At a party, some kid pushed my little brother, around 5 I think, into a pool when he couldn't swim. He was walking around it to grab a ball he was throwing. Kid did it because adults were doing it, by the way. Adults saw my brother get pushed in and start bobbing up and down. I distinctly heard someone say in a super chill voice, "Oh, he can't swim." I have never in my life moved so fast, jumped out of my chair, jumped into the pool in my clothes, and grabbed him. I was furious. Duck dude, that hit me. I'd be furious too. When I was around 11 or 12, 2 kids from the neighborhood got into a street fight. Kid number 1 clearly got the best of kid number 2, and kid number 2 was crying and went home. Should have been end of story. Kid number 2's parents met him at his front door and sent him back out there to continue to fight. I'm not sure if it was about honor or what, but it was painful to watch. What in the actual duck? If you can cry you can fight, get back out there. Parents probably. They didn't want to teach me to tie my shoes, because my mom said I had to learn that myself, so should you? My in-laws were like this with their kids. So when my husband and I started dating, I got to teach him how to eat without grasping his silverware like a toddler, showed him an easier way to tie his shoes, taught him better hygiene, etc. He was able to do everything on his own, but it was very clear that he had to figure it out on his own, and no one ever bothered to teach or help him at any point. It's amazing how parents forget to or don't realize kids have to be taught certain things. My grandparents taught me a lot and tried to make up for my parents. My dad never tried to teach me anything after walking and speaking, and when she and dad split up, mom was too busy. Most of what I learned as far as life skills go I figured out on my own. Being the oldest child, I was always left in charge of my younger siblings and taught myself how to change diapers and make age-appropriate lunches. By the time I was an adult, I had a firm grasp of the basics for a lot of things, but really couldn't cook anything that didn't come from a box until a combination of my husband and the internet taught me. I have no kids now, and my parents act like it's crazy because as a kid I was such a good little mom. At least the rest of the family seems to understand that being a mom as a kid made me not want to be one as an adult. As a kid I was such a good little mom. Yeah, I know what it's like now. I've got advance warning. No way in hell am I doing it again with kids I don't get to give back. I'd like to say I've done my time already. Just walk it off. My dad, when I developed a big nasty cyst on my toe when my mom was away on a stressful trip. She was not pleased to come back and have to immediately drive me to the hospital. It got to the point where I took one step on it and almost passed out. He apologized afterward. Got a sandwich from a really good sandwich place and I forgave him. Now I laugh about it. Edit, it was Maria's sub shop in Situate, USA. It's really good. Also, I guess this is worth bringing up. My dad is the son of a man who attempted to walk off a gangrenous leg infection that very same year. Rip Grandpa. Oh, I laugh about that too. My brother had stepped where there were pieces of a broken dish. He said he felt like there was a piece in his foot, but we didn't see anything. I don't think there was even a scratch. But he kept complaining that it hurt. Mom took him to a doctor, who was also skeptical, but took an x-ray just in case. Sure enough, there was an inch-long piece in his foot and they had to operate. Those white porcelain dish shards are hard to see. I had a huge one in my foot that I couldn't see until I had squeezed it mostly out. I was always a picky eater growing up. One time my mom sat me down with a small bowl of almonds and told me I couldn't get up out of my seat until I finished it. I insisted that I hated them and they were making my mouth itch. She thought I was just being difficult. I just started to swallow the almonds like pills because my mouth was so itchy from chewing on them. A couple years later I saw an allergist and discovered I was allergic to tree nuts. My mom did this to me with a peanut butter sandwich. You can't leave till you eat it, Lamau one bite and I ended up in the hospital. You sure showed her. Lamau, honestly, while it's terrible, it is a satisfying payback. That bill probably wasn't cheap. Really putting the pay in payback. When I was 10, my parents had my siblings. Twins, baby girls. Within 2 weeks I was babysitting them 12 plus hours a day, at least 5 days a week. Not only that. Since I was already babysitting, my aunt dropped of her 1 and 2-year-old too. So I, who had no prior experience babysitting or caring for kids, was now babysitting 4 kids under 3. What a literal shit show that was. My dad actually did throw me in a pool to see if I could swim. Not my dad, but my mom's friend thought I was faking a fear of water and inability to swim. When I was 34 I was learning to doggy paddle pretty well and would paddle off the stairs of my grandma's apartment complex pool, do a little loop and come back. Well, I miscalculated, missed the stairs once and went under for several seconds. My older sister, 10 at the time, was able to pull me out. Grandma had hip surgery so was unlikely to get a rescue from her. After that I was pretty much done with swimming. Like I'd get in the water only if I could touch the bottom. Fast forward a year or so and this woman says, oh, I can teach him to swim, which really meant yelling at me to just swim and quit being a baby. Eventually, to prove I was lying, she threw me in the deep end of her pool. I sank. Guess who pulled me out? My sister. The ducking woman would have watched me drown to prove a point. I don't think my mom continued to keep her as a friend when she found out. I never saw her again. I'm a relatively strong swimmer nowadays. Have my advanced open water dive cert and I'm pretty self-sufficient at not drowning. My older sister taught me how to ride a bicycle by putting me on the seat of a full-size bike at the top of our downward sloping driveway and giving me a good push, sending me flying down the driveway and jettisoning me into the street. I got the hang of it pretty quickly. Some kids just get bikes. My 7-year-old got on a bicycle for the first time early this March and she was riding it unaided and without training wheels within an hour. I didn't throw her in the proverbial pool, she shoved me away and jumped. My 9-year-old took 2 weeks to even sit on the thing with training wheels, but she's managing now. Still won't ride without them, but she's trying to learn, so I'm still proud of her. It took me close to 2 years to learn to ride without training wheels, so my gifted cyclist definitely didn't get her balance from me.